guys, what's up? It's good to have another live stream. And where are you all at? Let me know first of all, where's everybody at today? I always get a kick out of seeing where people are at. We had a little poll to see what you guys wanted to dig into this Saturday, and funk guitar won. So I'm gonna dig into a couple of the aspects that'll help anybody get better at funk guitar. I love this kind of vibe, I love this kind of style, and yeah, I'm happy that that you guys chose this topic. It's a fun one, and a couple of my biggest tracks are actually funk tracks. They're not generally the ones that get the most views, but a couple of them have become very popular. So it's good to know that the funk is alive out there. It's alive and kicking. The track that I was kind of hinting at right now when I was playing is like an old school funk track. I played an intro for that also got tabbed, and it was requested as an extended lesson on Patreon. And there's actually a link for that in the description for the track and for the intro solo. There's an extended lesson coming very soon, and I will take you guys through some of that today, because it kind of proves many of the main points that I'm going to be talking about today. So we'll dig into that, and like I said, I was just kind of hinting at it, this kind of thing. So we'll dig into that, but first I want to kind of break it down a little bit, and we'll talk about some shapes that you can use, you know, the actual fingerings and shapes that are super handy to know if you want to play funk guitar, especially funk rhythm guitar. I'm going to dig more into the rhythm element of everything than the soloing element. Obviously, you know, there are solos in funk, but certainly the rhythm element of funk is super important. You know, it's really the main thing to be able to do really well. So we'll dig into some of the shapes that you can use that will enhance your funk vocabulary. We'll look at the strumming hand, this fella here. That's extremely important. And then we'll look at dead notes as a topic as well, because that is definitely a part of getting some funk stank going. The ability to play around with dead notes and add dead notes to your phrasing. So there we go. Let me see where you guys are at first of all. I'll just tune in. Interesting. I'll just tune into this. Just past noon in Chicagoland. Awesome. Funk it up, says Les. I love it. And Boston is in the house. Have you had your coffee yet? I've had several teas, actually. I'm kind of a tea drinker. I know it's very non-musician-like, but I don't drink coffee. I kind of stopped doing that a little while ago because I'm already kind of hyper. So the coffee was making me extra hyper, take me over the edge. But having said that, tea is pretty much just as much of a kick, really. Let's be fair. London, England is here. Love it. My old hometown. I used to live there for a long time. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Awesome. Ooh, sunny but cold by the looks of it. I do love Minneapolis as well. I played a show there not that long ago, well, a few years ago. Greetings from Holland. New York City is in the house. Love it. And North Florida, very cool. Italy is in the house. Cisco Kid, very funky. Greetings from North Haiti, very cool. I love it. All right, so let's dig in, guys. I'm pretty close today, but that's hopefully going to be helpful for you. So you won't be seeing much of the top of my head, but who cares about the top of my head? All right, so let's dig into some shapes, guys. Oh, also, actually, before we go in, I should say that I made a discount code for my website, quistorama.com. You can get any of the jam track albums or tabs or whatever you like on there at 40% off today, and it works tomorrow as well. There's a code down there. The code is Quist9. Yeah, you can use that one to get a massive discount on any of my jam tracks, albums, or anything else that you like on there. There's a few tabs on there, but honestly, yeah, almost all of my tabs are, well, all of my tabs are on Patreon, which is linked in the description as well. So only a few of them are actually on my website, because I just decided to put all of them on Patreon. So yeah, the tab that I'll be going through is on Patreon as well. It's linked in the description. But first of all, let's talk about shapes. All right. So shapes obviously are, you know, the chord shapes that you want to be playing. And the first one I want to show you is super simple. It's this. It's just 3 notes played with 1 finger. So your first finger goes on the 5th fret of the G string, B string, and E strings. Like that. Okay? So if we're in the key of A minor, it's basically the top of an A minor chord. So that's our first shape. Okay, so we could go like that, for example. Now, the thing about this shape, though, is that it serves a dual purpose. So it's really, if not one of the, it might be the most handy shape in funk. So, you know, you've got that extra note right there that you can add. And also, it works in various ways. And I'm going to show you another way that it works, because it works really well over an 9 kind of chord as well. So say that you have an A9 like this, okay? Then you can see the top there. That's the same shape, those 3 notes. And sometimes you know, very often you don't want to be playing a whole chord. Much like jazz guitar, actually, you know, you very rarely want to be playing the whole chord. You very often just want to be playing the top of the chord, because otherwise you're kind of frequency-wise, you're intruding the bass player's frequency and the keyboard player, if there is one. You know, you want to have really just the upper notes, the upper frequencies right there. So that's true in jazz, and it's very much true in funk as well. Well, one way to help yourself do that is to use your bridge pickup, because that sort of cuts some of the lower frequencies as well. And now, so I'm not playing the whole A9, which you can, but it's super handy just to play the top 3 strings right there. And then you also have that note there, which is the 13, which, you know, you will have heard before, because that's James Brown gospel right there. I mean, I call this one the James Brown chord, your A9. But really, all you need is those 3 top strings right there. And then you got that super handy 13th note right there, which is just such a classic funk kind of sound. So that is it's a principle that you can use wherever. So say you have an E9, you're in E, like that. Well, just grab that top 3 there, and yeah. But let's go back to A. So that's the principle, you know, you just grab that top 3 strings of any A shape of an 9 chord like that. So that is a very, very handy little thing. And so that's the first kind of shape, just those 3. that you can use either for a minor chord or a dominant chord like the 9 chord. And speaking of dominant chords, let's look at this shape here. So that's our second shape. Again, we're not playing like a whole chord, we're just playing the top of a chord. And yeah, that's your A7, the E shape. Okay, and we're just playing the 5th fret there, 6th fret with our 2nd finger, and then barring with the 1st finger there on the D string, but also the B string and E string. So that's another one that is super handy, basically for dominant chords. I like to slide into it. So now I'm just playing around with adding the flat 7 there with the little finger, and the 9th, the 3rd finger. So there's tons of stuff you can do with that. That's our second shape. Now I want to do the 4th shape. Sorry, the 3rd shape. And that one is the 13. That is a handy shape as well. So this is an A13. So the D string there on the 5th fret, 2nd finger on the 6th fret of the G string, and then 7th fret with the 3rd finger on the B string, and you're barring with your 1st finger. So you get that top A note there on the 5th fret of the E string as well. Okay? And then you can add, the little finger there, you can add on the 9th, or the sharp 9. Loads of things you can do with that shape, and that is also the shape that is the foundation of the example that I'll show you in a few moments. So that is 3 kind of main shapes that you will undoubtedly find handy in terms of funk. So this one for a minor situation, and this one, and this one, and this one for a dominant or major kind of situation. And yeah, this one, that is the one that you can see. There's a link to the jam track where I use this one for the intro, and it's on the actual jam track as well, so it fits perfectly. You can see I've got that linked in the description, so you can always hit that up and have a look at it. So there we go, guys. One other thing I want to say about shapes is that you can use double stops, just 2 notes. There's tons of double stops everywhere on the. I mean, this would be a start. Just that. So I'm just using the 5 and 5 there on the B string and the E string, and then I'm going 8, 8, and 7, 7. There's so many things you can do with double stops like that. So that's another thing to think about playing around with, and to rewind even more. Single notes are awesome, especially if like muted. obviously, I had a different feel there on the on the loop, so I had to navigate towards that. But yeah, so that's, sometimes it's like two notes can do the whole job and do it amazingly. So you know, it's worth playing around with single phrases like that. Oh, Santa Cruz is in the house. Love Santa Cruz. Okay, so one more thing is octaves, which you see me use a lot, both in the kind of jazz world, you know, the jazzy kind of way, but obviously the less jazzy way is, you know, I just rolled a ton of tone off. Now I'm adding the tone back, and I'm also going to use my bridge pickup. I'm going to turn it down a little bit as well, but now I'm still going to play octaves, but I'm playing them with my pick rather than my thumb, and then so yeah, that's it. You know, endless patterns that you can do. Many great songs have nothing but like that, like even just one note. You know, sometimes it's like literally one note in an octave like that can create tie a whole, you know, section together, and guitar octaves have definitely been used like that. So yeah, they're a fun thing to play around with as well. All right, so let's talk about the second thing that is important in order to, you know, do good funk guitar rhythm playing, and that's the right hand. So actually, before we do it, let me give away an album. I got my album Into the Groove. You could get that, or you can choose any album you like, to be honest. Let me give away an album to the first person who can tell me let's see what key I'm playing in. Yeah, tell me what key I'm playing in, and I'll give away an album to that person, and I'll try and use some of the shapes that I've literally just talked about. So here we go. Okay, so who can tell me what key I was in right there? Okay, so let's see who just won an album. More Chicago in the house. Love it. Okay, C minor, no. G, no. A Dorian, no. E, no. Pretty funky. Thank you. Okay, we don't have the right answer yet. Let's have a look. So which key am I Am I am I in, guys? I know it's hard because I'm not in the most common shape. So let me go here. Yeah, you would think that it was C sharp minor. That's a pretty great guess, which it could be, but because I'm going. Okay, I think we got it. Oh, and thank you, Benjamin, for the super chat. Thank you very much. I will buy myself a lovely cup of tea. Stefan Taylor, you nailed it. F sharp right there. I'm gonna get my tuner, says Ellen. Love it. And Casey, Sebastian, Wizhacks. Okay, everybody's got it now. Stefan Taylor, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. You were first, so send me an email. The email you can find on my website, quistorama.com, and head over to quistorama.com /jam tracks. I think there's a link below as well. And so if you click that, just write me an email from Quistorama and tell me which album you would like, and I will give you that. Into the Groove has tons of funk tracks on that. It's all about the funkiness. So there we go. All right, so let's have a look, guys. So the strumming hand, that's what I really should be talking about here. So topic number 2 is the strumming hand. And this bit, you can see me doing it, going down, up, down, up, down, up, continuously. That's really the main vibe. Oh wow, Kenya is in the house. I love it. Good evening, Kenya. So yeah, this is really the vibe that you want to be getting. Sometimes when I see people play, let's say that we're going, I'm going to use that A13 shape that we just did. Let's say we're going 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that, for example. Say that we were going like this. And going down, down on that. That would severely decrease your chances of getting funky with that. Is what I'm gonna say. So what you want to be doing is 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going 1, so down, up, 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 like that. And one way you can practice that is, you know, deadening the notes like this. Just doing like that. Okay, so now just go. Actually, let's do it with dead notes. So. Okay, so having that is super important in terms of getting a nice kind of funk feel going. So even without the dead notes, you know, you want to be going, if not doing it in the air, which sometimes does really work, that you're actually doing it in the air, but even if you're not doing it in the air, like, I mean, I am kind of doing it, just not like this, but I'm adhering to that pattern, even if I'm not playing or moving in the air. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So having that as a steady old thing is crazy important. So that's just strumming hand vibe. So in this case, we got the 16th notes going. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So it's the 1, So 1 E and the So the 1 and the So 1 E and Okay? Okay, so having that kind of strumming is crazy important, where it goes down, up, down, up, down, up, and has a swing to it. And being loose is another aspect, like trying to be relaxed. If you're like that, it's just never gonna funk. Getting that kind of loose wrist vibe going. And then, so this brings me to the third and final kind of aspect that I want to talk about, which is dead notes. Because you can hear me playing dead notes. Yeah, right now I'm playing like lots of them. I'm gonna fill, let me fill all the holes. So every time I'm not playing the chord, I'll play dead notes. Okay, so that's, you know, one way to get some funk going is by having lots of dead notes like that, you know, make you keep that rhythm going and just fills in like it really makes it more dynamic and rhythmically interesting, especially if you're not playing all of them. If you're just, you know, let me try and play a more sparse kind of selection of dead notes. So like this. Like, even if it was, you know, just before you play the chord the first time. So that's super handy. Like just having those little colors, you know, rhythmic kind of colors, rhythmic accents before you play the actual notes. Those are mega important in terms of getting some stank and some funk out of your right hand and left hand playing. So that is one thing to play around with as well. And obviously you can see I'm playing, you know, when I play a chord, I let go of it real quick, like that, to give it that staccato feel, so that it goes it doesn't go it goes like that. So and I do that by playing it, you know, fingering it, but then letting go of it, but not letting go of it like that, but I keep my fingers there, but I let go of it. I don't press the string anymore. I just let my fingers touch it, which deadens it, and so it makes it dead and gives it that just a quick kind of sound that dies very quickly. And that's super important in funk guitar as well, that you have a good concept of that thing, like where you are able to deaden notes and give them accents, like staccato accents, for example, real quick. That's kind of an essential little thing to play around with as well. So rather than you go, so you don't have to mute with your right hand. You know, you can kill the notes straight away with your left hand, like that. Yeah. So that's also, you know, another funky style is reggae, you know, and that's totally the vibe that you get in from, you know, the skank in a reggae. Say that we're in A minor here, and you want to be playing, you know, I'm doing it with upstrokes. Again, the same thing actually. I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up, but I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm adhering to a down, up kind of situation, but only hitting some of the notes, which in this case is the upstrokes. So, you know, having that steady movement, it just makes for so much more groove coming out of your guitar playing. So that's a super important thing. And yeah, so here I'm doing that. You know, if I wasn't killing the notes straight away, it would be more like, which is just not got the same kind of groove as something that just pokes out and sits right in the pocket. So yeah, that's that same, you know, different style of music, but same vibe, you know, just something that becomes hypnotically like, you know, it brings you into like a hypnotic kind of state, you know, the same way that funk does it, reggae does that too. It does it to me anyway. So yes, that same principle, that you're able to kill the notes very quickly by letting go of them, and but not removing your fretting hand, so that it just gets a little thing like that. And yeah, I have an example of that that I can. I'll teach you a little snippet of it as probably the last thing that we'll do. So we're in A, and the track. I'm gonna play on the track for a second, and it's like an old school funk jam track that I put out. The track is linked below, and yeah, the intro solo tab is available on my Patreon along with all of my other tabs, obviously. And I've got an extended lesson coming out for that, and for, you know, funk jam, for funk guitar techniques in general, and that's dropping very, very soon. And yeah, that's it. So I want to have a little play, and I'll try and play around with that figure, and you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to use all of those things that we just talked about. I'm using the shape here, the major 13, dominant 13, you know, shape, and then let me get the right sound going here. So I'm going to use the neck pickup for this, but I'm going to add a fair bit of tone again, because, you know, if it's like super dark like this, then we're in the wrong style of music. So I'm gonna add a fair bit of tone on my tone knob, but I will be on the, you know, softer sounding neck pickup, and that sounds like that. Even a little bit more I'm gonna add. Yeah, that should do it. So so there we go. I actually played on the track I was playing on my 335 from 1968, which I love, but I was using it in a studio session the other day, and I left it in the studio. I mean, it's my friend's studio, so it's perfectly safe and everything, but I was going to use that guitar for today, because I'm using it on the track and the intro that I'm about to show you. But yeah, I left it in that studio, so I'll be on this guitar for now, and it's all good. But I can get some of that kind of sound by going on the neck pickup. So here we go. I'll show you what I'm talking about. some fun there. So yeah, this one's an A, yeah, I'm using this very shape. Okay, that 13, the A13 shape that I showed you at the beginning. By the way, I will leave this up for a few days here on YouTube, and then after a while, I normally do take them down, but they'll always be available to patrons on Patreon. So if you want to be able to access, all the streams that I'm doing just now, just head on over and connect with me on Patreon. I really appreciate the support that and the community that's starting to happen over there. It's pretty fantastic. So yeah, that's where these live streams usually go after a little while, and that's it. All right. So first of all, we're gonna do this, which are dead notes, like we were just talking about. So I'm holding down, my strings with my fretting hand in order for me to be able to go just like that. Hit them all, but not make an actual note, but just the sound of dead strings. Yeah. So the first part is literally just that, the dead notes. Okay, and then we're gonna take that shape, the three notes here, which is the D string, the G string, and the B string on 5, 6, and 7 with fingers 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, but we're gonna slide into that from the fret just below. Okay, so that's our first move. So dead strings, and then a slide up like that. Okay, and I'm gonna teach bars 5 and 6 because they are somewhat representative of the whole thing. So yeah, from the example that I've picked out, there's a link to this tab on Patreon, and yeah, bar 5 and 6. So it goes. That's your first move. Then you're gonna go for the top 3 strings of this shape, which is kind of in itself it's just an A6 chord, but obviously we've just had that, so it's really just part of that same shape, the A13 shape, and we're gonna play that twice, like that. But the second time, we're gonna add that thing where we let go of it real quick and it becomes like a staccato vibe. So we go like that. So just try that. So down, up. Remember, so I'm letting go straight away, but leaving my hands. So, okay. And then after that, I allow myself to do a downstroke, and still with my hand on there, but just playing dead notes because I'm not actually fretting notes. I'm just touching the strings. So, okay. Now we're gonna go. So that top part of the chord again, and then go dead notes, top part, and dead notes. So, and all of these are staccato, so you go so that last part there is a so, okay, so the whole bar, that's it. That's your first part. And then the next part is kind of an echo of that, but you go to touch upon the D9 chord at the very end, which is that. And remember, when we have a 9 chord in that shape, which is the James Brown shape, that I showed you at the beginning. It's like those 3 notes. We just need the top 3 really. So it doesn't have the major third, but it has the flat 7 of D. It has the 9, and it has the 5th. So it has that little essential shape. It's just that funk, classic funk kind of vibe. So that's all we need, and that's what we play at the very end of this second bar that I'm teaching you. So first bar starts, or the first part of the bar starts much like it. So instead of going, we go. We've got 2 dead notes first, and then the slide. Okay? And then instead of going, we go. So we got just these 3 notes here, the lower part of the chord, and then the upper part afterwards, much like we were doing before, where we let it die straight away, so to give it that staccato feel. So okay, and then after that we go straight for a dead note. Okay, so that is, yeah, and then we're gonna go, so down, dead note, up, dead note. So yeah, and then for the very end we're gonna go, yeah, like that. So then we play that D9, the top shape of the top part of the D9 shape. So that whole bar. Okay? Again. And again. And I'm going to play both of those shapes right now. Yeah, and that's a little example using all of that, that shape, common shape, the strumming hand, the up and the constant down and up thing that we talked about, and number 3, the dead notes, loads of dead notes in this. So it's really those elements, getting some shapes down, getting your strumming hand to be strong, loose, and continuous. And getting a good grasp of dead notes and deadening your the notes that you are playing as well, like that. So that's those are the main things that you want to be trying to practice when you do this. Let me have another little bit of fun, and I'll try and explore some of the other things that we talked about, like. Like I was just seeing, can you shred? I guess, but yeah. I guess there's not much. I mean, there is some funk that has shredding to it, but yeah, it's less popular in funk, I guess, to really shred, except if. Well, it depends what one's concept of shred is, I guess. But yeah, let me explore some of all these things, and I'm going to try and use some of the octaves as well, and some like double stops that we're talking about as well. And I'm trying to sort of represent the things that we just talked about. And in the meantime, also, guys, let me know what kind of topics that you're hungry for for future live streams. I always I'm interested in knowing that, toying around with whether this is going to become a thing that we definitely do on a regular basis, you know, because I do enjoy hanging like this, and I get requests for them, you know, especially on Patreon and the various places that that I can be reached at. Patreon is the main pathway of communication, really, to me, because yeah, they have good like messaging system, and people can post and all that sort of stuff, and you know, on Facebook and all these other places, I get inundated with messages, and it's hard to keep up with any of that. I haven't read my Facebook messages for a long time, so yeah, it's hard to keep up with that communication like that. But yeah, on Patreon it makes sense, and I always try and honor everybody's requests on there, and questions and whatnot. So yeah, I keep getting requests for these through Patreon. So therefore I am doing them, but I'm interested in hearing, you know, what people's thoughts are, what kinds of live streams that you're more interested in, and then we can look at that. Be good to hear from you guys, YouTube fam, as well. Yeah, let me have a little play. it stays on the subdominant, the D chord right there at the end. So it never goes back. It actually fades during the 4 chord there, which kind of tripped me up. I was hoping for it to return there at the end. I forgot because I made this track a long time ago. So I was like kind of waiting for it to land back on the, you know, on the main part. But yeah, fun and games, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Let me just see what we're doing here. I appreciate it. Play along, yeah, good idea. Ellen says, where do I live? I live in LA, Los Angeles, California. And there we go. Oh, Chile in the house. Amazing. I really want to go to Chile. I've never been. Funk triplets on 8 notes. Funk triplets on 8 notes. Says Javier says funk triplets on 8 notes. Quite the jazz influence mixed with some funky syncopation. Yes, I think we got a little syncopated right there, and a little jazzy too. Triplets on. I think I know what you were saying. If you got, let's have a look. Let's do something simple. So if you got 8 notes, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, like that. See if I can honor your question, Javier. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you got your 8th notes like that. So your 8th note would just be. If you were doing triplets on that. Let's do something like. So that's how, you know, the feel would be if you're doing triplets on something that goes down 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and that's what triplets feel like, right? Obviously, there's a million ways that you could be doing this musically, or a million different contexts. But yeah, that's the field, guys. Yeah, that's the feel when you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. So staying in let's stay in A minor. So. This is somewhat polyrhythmic, the way that I just attacked that, because I went, you know, completely into the triplet feel. But yeah, stuff like that is so much fun to play around with. So you know, awesome question, Javier. I like it. But yeah, it's of course always possible, you know, to add, like, actually, let me just kill this. It's always possible to add eighth notes or triplets, you know, when you have an eighth note kind of scenario. It's not always musical, but you can always do it, and it's you know, it's fun to play around with. That is for sure. Triplets, yes. Bravo, like we say in France. Appreciate you. Love France. I used to come there all the time, actually. Very good. What's my approach to song structure? That's an interesting question. Yeah, let me answer a couple of questions first. So yeah, what guitar? This is a Fender. It's kind of a mix of various things. It's a Fender Stratocaster custom. It's mainly built on the Jeff Beck style. So it's got Jeff Beck noiseless pickups in there and his vibrato system as well. And I love it. Yeah, just Fender Stratocaster from built mainly from that Jeff Beck range. What's my approach to song structure? I mean, depends what music I'm writing, you know, because I love to play around with it. I'm making the type of music. Right now, I'm making some music where the structure is completely different from much other music that I've made. You know, like traditional song structure is, you know, I've worked in that for so many years, like in terms of, you know, you have a verse, you have a pre-chorus, you have a chorus, and you have a verse, a pre-chorus, and a chorus, and then you maybe have a B section, like a bridge, and then you have you know, the chorus out, or you have a little breakdown first after the bridge, and then you have the chorus out like twice, or whatever, you know, like the traditional pop song writing structures. I'm well aware of those, and have messed around with those for a long time, and you know, they don't just apply to pop music, but like, you know, a lot of music is just crazy formulaic, but yeah, I think actually one good thing about nowadays, there is some music out there that is breaking those formulas pretty well, and still being, you know, popular, or within the popular domain, so to speak. But yeah, I've been creating a lot of music recently, which completely does away with song structures, where you can, you know, just do, you know, basically be on a vibe that just develops the whole time, and never necessarily comes back to anything else. You know, it doesn't necessarily return to like a theme or whatever. It's just a continuous journey, and I enjoy that. And it's something that, like, I'm talking specifically about like the kind of lo-fi hip hop scene, which I've been playing around with a little bit of. Just put out a track that's a little bit within that kind of vibe, and it, you know, it's guitar led, because I'm a guitarist, and I'm always going to have guitar at the forefront of what I do, because that's what I love, and that's what's important to me. But I've been toying around a little bit with that scene, and because I actually really enjoy it, otherwise I obviously wouldn't. And some of the tracks on that scene are very much just. They're also very short, which makes it, you know, which is probably part of the reason, is like, you know, it can literally just be a vibe. You roll into a vibe, then that vibe just develops, takes you somewhere else, and then that's it. And I love that, you know. So yeah, on song structure, you know, there's so many ways of doing it, but yeah, it's mostly very rigid in terms of songs that you hear, you know, in the public kind of domain, in pop music, and yeah, but the few people that really mess about with it, I have deep respect for them. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I find interesting. You know, when people break the mold, you know, and come up with something that isn't like everything else. But hey guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it as always. If you want to dig deeper into the funk kind of style, obviously you can revisit this here. It will be up on my Patreon. It will be up here on YouTube for a few days, and then it will be available forever and ever on my Patreon. And yeah, if you want to dig into that example that I was playing, the track is linked below. So make sure you go and have some fun on that track, and you can also get the tab for the intro, so you can learn very specifically how to play those shapes, those patterns, those licks. So that's linked below as well. It's all on my Patreon. So I appreciate the support, guys. And like I said, there's I'm having I have a promo code, a disco code, very appropriately, no, a discount code that is in the description as well. It's Quist 9, which works today and tomorrow. You can grab any of my albums, like my funk album, Into the Groove, for example. You can get a free download or two, I think, from it. So you can always get a little taster. And if you want to get it, it's 40% off today and tomorrow. And so is everything else on my website. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you hanging out, and appreciate these little hangs that we have. You guys rock. We're about to hit 100 million views on the channel, actually. Chris, I'm not high, if that's what you think. I'm not wearing my glasses, though, because I'm not really comfortable wearing my glasses yet. I just got some new ones and I'm not comfortable with them. So I probably look halfway crazy because I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm blind now. I'm just not comfortable wearing them in general. But yeah, I will be putting them on in a minute. So if it looks like I'm high, that'll be why, because I ain't. It's way too early for that. But yeah, I'm the channel is about to hit 100 million views. It'll happen next month in March. I believe it should happen around the middle or the end of March. And I've got a couple of very big, well-known companies that you guys, one of them is Ernie Ball. I've been an Ernie Ball artist for a long time. And they will be adding some goodies to my giveaway. I'm gonna have a giveaway to celebrate 100 million views. So, you know, make sure you stay tuned for that. It's gonna be, I'll try and make a nice little event out of it, and I'll be giving away a bunch of stuff. Obviously, you know, downloads and all sorts, but also some a few physical things like strings and all sorts, and probably a few bigger things. I'm hoping to get, I don't want to say the name, but like there's I have a couple of big people that are saying that they would like to, or not people, companies rather, that are wanting to get on board. So if I can secure a couple of really big prizes for you guys, then that should be great fun, because, you know, it's a bit of a milestone. 100 million views is pretty amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. So that'll happen next month. So we will have a live stream giveaway for that. And in the meantime, guys, have fun, and appreciate you guys very much. I will see you on the next one. More jams coming, obviously, very shortly. And Wednesday warm-ups continuing, all that sort of stuff. Awesome, guys. Really appreciate you, and I will see you very soon. Take care.